Okay, so this is our test review on geometric figures. We're going to go through some of the most important concepts that you learned from this unit, as well as just different practice problems and formulas. All right, so we said circumference formulas, C equals 2 pi r and C equals pi d, depending if you're given the radius or the diameter. What do you call a figure that is made up of at least two or more two-dimensional figures, which just means it's flat? What do you call a figure? We did a whole lesson on it. Starts with a C. It's a composite figure. So we know that composite figures have more than one shape. All right, it could be a triangle and a rectangle. It could be two rectangles. We'll look at one of those in just a minute. How do you find the perimeter of a semicircle? Perimeter of a semicircle. So you could do your formula, right? C equals 2 pi r, or, I should use the word or C equals pi d, but what must I do after that? I have to divide by what? Divide by 2. Then what must I do? Add the diameter. I must then go back and add my diameter. So remember that for circumference or for perimeter, you have the circumference, but then you have to go back and add the diameter. All right? What do supplementary angles add up to? Two choices, basically. What do supplementary angles add up to? What is it, guys? I see it on your desk. It is 180. All right, so supplementary angles add to 180. Complementary angles add to what? 90. All right, so let's go ahead and start off by finding circumference and area of this figure. Yes. That's fine. Okay, so we're going to find the circumference. So you need to decide which formula you want to use. And then you need to find the area. Can we review the area of a circle? What is our formula? A equals pi r squared. What does r stand for? Radius. The radius. So be really careful on that substitution. All right, give you guys just a minute to find the circumference and the area. Okay, which formula did you guys use? C equals pi d, because you're given the diameter. C equals 3.14 times 18, which is my diameter. And what's 3.14 times 18?
56.52.
Okay, 56.52, and then just inches. All right, is that what you guys got? Okay, all right, so A equals pi. What number did you plug in for the radius? Did you plug in 18? No, what value is my radius? It's 9. So don't forget, if they give you diameter, you have to divide by 2 to get the radius. So now, do I do my multiplication first, or do I do my exponent first? Exponent. So 3.14 times 81. What's 3.14 times 81? 254.34, and we say inches squared. Inches squared. All right, any questions on circumference and area of a circle? It's on your test tomorrow. Okay? All right, so now let's do perimeter and area of a semicircle. Perimeter and area of a semicircle. So here's where I have to kind of modify those formulas. Because remember, a semicircle is how much of a circle? It's half of a circle. All right, so Do y'all remember the formula for circumference? C equals, which formula do you want to use? 2 pi r or pi d? What do you guys think? Pi d, right? Because 6 is the whole diameter. So C equals pi d, but then what do you have to do? Divide by 2, but then what do you have to do? Add the diameter, okay? So that's my formula. Pi d to find the whole circumference, divide by 2, because it's a semicircle, and then go back and add the diameter. All right, so C equals 3.14 times 6 divided by 2 plus 6. All right, so 3.14 times 6 is 18.84, and then I divide that by 2. C equals 9.42 plus 6. So C equals what, guys? 15.42. All right, just kind of nod if you got that right. Did you guys get that? Okay. All right, so that's circumference or perimeter. Perimeter works too. Okay, P equals. You'll still get the right answer either way. Now, what about the area of my semicircle? What do you guys think that formula will be? A equals pi r squared divided by 2. Okay, because remember, pi r squared gives me the whole circle. So I only need half of it, so I divide by 2. All right, go ahead and get those numbers plugged in. All right, A equals 3.14. What value did you plug in for radius? 3 squared, and then divide by 2. So A equals, what's 3.14 times 9? Did you get 28.26? And then when you divide by 2, you get 14.13 meters squared. All right, give me thumbs up if you guys got that right. Give me thumbs up. All right. It's not heads up, 7 up, but that did kind of remind me when you guys kind of like discreetly put the... Y'all remember heads up, 7 up from the good old elementary days?
We still do it.
And you try to figure out who tapped your thumb. Isn't that how you play? Mm-hmm. All right, composite figures. You're going to have one of these on your test tomorrow. So you can split it a number of ways. You could split it vertically, okay? You could split it horizontally, all right? You're not going to want to split it like this, right? That makes it a really weird figure. How are you going to calculate that area? So you want to split it to create equivalent, or not equivalent figures, but create a figure, right? That you can actually calculate the area. Let's start off with perimeter. First, I want you, go ahead and sketch the figure. It won't take long. Go ahead and sketch the figure on your desk. And then as you're sketching the figure, I want you to try to figure out what this bottom side would measure. Okay, try to figure out what that bottom side would measure. I know when we did these on IXL, it was crazy. It got real intense. It won't be that bad on your test tomorrow. Yes. Okay, what is that side?
20.
It is 20. All right, so how do I find the perimeter? Perimeter equals the sum of all the sides, isn't it? All right, so I'm just going to add. Oh, hold on a second. What about this little side?
8.
8. How did you know it was going to be 8?
Subtract 22 into...
All right, so you know that this long side is 30, so that means that 22 and 8 also has to equal 30. All right, so if you think about it this way, okay, all you're doing when you're finding perimeter is just adding all the sides. 30 plus 20 plus 8 plus 25 plus 22 plus 45. All right, so go ahead and find your perimeter. So 50, 30 plus 20 is 50, 58. I skipped over here and added 22. Got 80, 105, and then 150. 150 centimeters. Just add all the sides together. Now area, okay, what? Okay, now area, let's go ahead and split the figure. I would definitely split it vertically, okay? All right, so I need to calculate length times width on both figures. Okay, so make sure you use the length and width of the actual figure. So because I split it this way, 45 is not the width or the length of either one of these rectangles. So just make sure that you use the width of only that rectangle. All right, so go ahead and try to calculate it. Calculate the area of both of your rectangles. Okay, so length times width. On the left rectangle, I did 25 times 22. Is that what you guys did? 25 times 22 is going to be what?
550.
All right, 550. And then what two numbers did you guys multiply on the taller rectangle? 20 times 30. Okay, so you should have got 600. So A equals 550 plus 600. So the area of my composite figure is 1150 centimeters squared. All right. Okay, thumbs up if you got it. Thumbs down if you messed up. All right. Thumb sideways if you kind of got it. All right, any questions? All right, so you've got a composite figure tomorrow. I want you to tell me if these angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither. You have a similar section on your test to what you saw on your quiz. All right, where you're just going to tell me, are these two angles complementary, supplementary, or neither? Now, you have to show me the total. All right, the total shows me that you're not just flipping a mental coin, okay, and then guessing. What is the total between these two angles when you add them together? What's 52 plus 52? Y'all need a calculator. 104. Is 104 degrees, is that the measure of complementary or supplementary? No. So I would say 104 degrees and neither. All right, so you have a similar section on your test tomorrow to what you saw in your quiz. All right, if you add them together and it's 90 or 180, then it's supplementary, complementary. Okay, if not, it's neither. I want you to classify these two angles. All right, so we learned 3 different kinds of angle relationships. We learned complementary angles and what that looks like, supplementary and vertical angles. So what kind of angles are these? Lily, what do you think? These are vertical angles. And what do I know that to be true about their measurements? That they will be what? They will be the same. They'll be the same. Now, if you can do this mental math, by all means, you can do this mental math. What number plus 2 would be the same as 20? 18, okay? Now, let me show you in an equation. If vertical angles are the same, that means that x plus 2 will equal 20. Because you just said that both angles will equal each other. So then you could subtract by 2 and x equals 18. Now, if you do this mental math, that will be fine as well. okay? But you just need to understand that the value for x has to make it true. So 18 plus 2 is 20, all right? So that's why it was 18. Okay, you have a section like this on your test tomorrow. Any questions? So definitely review your quizzes to help you. All right, let's shift gears. Now remember, tomorrow this is going to be matching. That doesn't mean that you need it, though. Do you guys remember your formulas? Okay, let's say them together. Okay, so surface area, S equals 2 times the length times the width plus 2 times the length times the height plus 2 times the width times the height. It's kind of got like a rhythm to it, right?
Isn't that just rectangular?
Yes, that is rectangular. Surface area of a triangular prism is a little different. We'll go over that in just a second. What about surface area of a pyramid? Surface area equals the area of your base plus alpha, area of your lateral faces. That actually is the formula for surface area of a triangular prism too. Okay, what about surface area of a cylinder? S equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi RH. Now, what part of that formula would give it away to you in a matching section that this is the cylinder? What do you see in this formula that was not in your other formulas? Just tell me. Radius and pi. That tells you that you have circles. Are circles in prisms and pyramids? No, they're not. So that's an easy way to tell the formula of your cylinder. All right, volume of a prism. V equals capital B. What does capital B mean?
Base.
The area of your base times the height. What is the only difference with volume of a pyramid?
You multiply.
You take 1/3 of it. 1/3 times the area of my base times my height. Okay. All right. Any questions before we do a couple? Any questions? Okay. Find the surface area and volume of the rectangular prism. All right. So we'll go ahead and write down our formulas. You don't necessarily have to write down the original formula. You can just plug them in. All right, and then volume equals the area of the base times the height. As long as you pick the same dimension for length, then it's okay which one you pick. So if you picked 2 for your length, but as long as you plugged in 2 everywhere length goes, you'll still get the right answer. I would say that 2 is my width, 3 is my length, and 4 is my height. But again, as long as you pick the same number for that dimension, then you'll still get it. All right, so S equals 2 times 3 times 2 plus 2 times 3 times 4 plus 2 times 2 times 4. All right, did yours look like that? Guys, we can do this mental math, right? What's 2 times 3? What's 6 times 2? 12. What's 2 times 3? 6 times 4? 24. What's 2 times 2? What's 4 times 4? 16. If you're doing this mental math, what 2 numbers would be easier to multiply or to add together first? 24 and 16 I would do, because 4 plus 6 is 10. Carry your 1, so that's 40. 40 plus 12 is the 52 feet squared. All right, did anybody else get 52? Okay. All right, so now volume equals the area of my base. What two numbers do I multiply to find the area of my base? 2 times 3. So the area of my base times the height of my prism. What's the height of my prism? 4. What's 2 times 3? What's 6 times 4? 24 feet cubed. All right, any questions on that? It's on your test tomorrow. Any questions? Area of my base times my height. All right, so now let's do triangular prisms. Okay, so triangular prism is going to be a little different because my base is what shape? What's my base?
Triangle.
It's a triangle. Okay, so the surface area equals 2 times the area of my base. Why would I multiply the area of my base times 2?
Because you have 2.
I have 2 identical bases. Okay, so 2 times the area of my base plus the area of my lateral faces. Okay, now you have to be careful. All right, and now I'm just going to remind you what I said when we learned this lesson. The side across from the right angle will never be the height of your triangular base, okay? So when I'm finding the area of my base, I do 2 times, because it's a triangle, 1/2. What is the base of that triangle? I would say 5, okay? If you say 12, that's fine. You cannot say 13, guys. Do not say 13. That's where you can mess up. So 1/2 times 5 times 12, okay? So let's, before we do that math, let's now talk about my lateral faces. Let's just look at this front face. What shape is this front face?
A rectangle.
A rectangle. So what would I multiply to find the area of that lateral face? I would do 13 times 3, right? Now I need to find the area of my lateral face on the left side. What two numbers would I multiply to find the area of that tiny rectangle? What would I multiply, guys?
5 times 3.
5 times 3, right? Because this is 5, and then 3 is my width. Now, what two dimensions make up my back face?
12 and 3.
All right, 12 times 3. Now I'm ready to do the math. So S equals 2 times, now which number would be easier to take 1/2 of?
12.
12. What's half of 12? 6. What's 6 times 5?
30.
So 2 times 30 plus 39 plus 15 plus 36. All right, you go ahead and finish. All right, what'd you get? I got 150. All right, surface area of a triangular prism. Okay, now I need to find volume. What's my formula for volume? V equals capital B times the height of my prism. Now, here's where this could really help you tomorrow. You have already calculated the area of your base right here. Didn't you already do that? 1/2 base times height. What was that? It was 30. Okay, so V equals 30 times what is the height of your prism? 3. Does everybody see that? So guys, you can use the numbers you already multiplied in surface area as a shortcut. Volume is 90 meters cubed. All right, any questions on prisms? About to do pyramids. Actually, I think we're doing cylinders next and then pyramids. Yep. All right, now on cylinder, you will only have to find the surface area. Okay, so surface area equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi RH, and you will be given the formula in a matching section. Okay, so let's see if you can plug in the numbers where they're supposed to go. All right, 2 pi. What number did you plug in for R? 2. Do not plug in 4. That's not the radius. Plus 2 pi r, and then the height of my cylinder, which is 10. All right, so S equals 6.28. You'll probably memorize that one. 3.14 times 2. All right, 6.28 times 4. You get 25.12 plus 6.28 times 20. 125.6. Now remember, guys, so Julia, remember this last week? Do your multiplication first, then add them together, okay? Because if you try to put all these numbers in your calculator at the same time, it's going to give you the wrong answer. All right, so go ahead and now add them together. What'd y'all get? 150.72 inches squared. All right, any questions? All right, so we did prisms, we did cylinders. What's my last figure? Pyramids. Okay, so surface area, I am going to need the height of my pyramid, and that's going to be 2 centimeters. I'm going to need that for volume. Okay, so let's start off with surface area. What is the surface area formula? S equals area of my base plus alpha, area of my lateral faces. Okay, so S equals, I want you to try to figure out what would you multiply.
Any students who are signed up to go on the field trip today
to
are
find
dismissed at this time. You need to meet outside at the fountain.
The area of your base. What numbers would you multiply to find the area of your base? Well, what shape do you think your base is?
Square.
How do you know it's a square?
It has the same side.
Okay, because this only gives us one dimension, so I know that all my sides are the same. So could I just do 4 times 4, or 4 squared, to find the area of my base? Okay. Plus, what shape is my lateral face? They all, yep, they're all triangles. So what's the area of my triangle? 1/2 times what is the base of my triangle? No, what's the base of my triangle? Only one side.
Oh,
4
4.
times the height of that triangle, which is 6, okay? So that's the slant height. But now, how many identical lateral faces do I have? I have 4. So multiply that by 4. All right, now you're ready to do your math. S equals, what's 4 times 4? 16. What's half of 4? 2. What's 2 times 6? 12. What's 12 times 4? 48. Okay, so my surface area equals 16 plus 48, which is 64 centimeters squared. All right, last but not least, what about volume? Volume equals the area, 1/3. Don't forget, it's a pyramid. The area of my base times the height of my pyramid. So volume equals 1/3. Guys, you already calculated the area of your base, right? What's the area of my base? 16 times 16 times what is the height of my pyramid? 2. I drew in that dimension. So the height of the pyramid on your test tomorrow is going to go straight up the middle of the triangle. Okay? So I can't divide either number evenly by 3, so I'm going to do 16 times 2 first. What's 16 times 2? 32. And then 32 divided by 3, it's not going to be an even number. That's okay.
10.6.
All right. 10.6 repeating. So volume is approximately 10.7 centimeters cubed. All right. It'll work out evenly on your test tomorrow. Okay. All right. Any questions? All right, I think that's going to be it. We don't need to do the review section. All right, we are good. That's everything you need to know for your test tomorrow.